Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I'm super stoked because to me, it's kind of like I'm in fanboy mode right now because these two beautiful people that you see on your screen or you're about to hear authored a book called Real Coaching Success. And it's Dr. Nathan Baxter and his beautiful wife, Dianne. And their marriage is something that's a model that I think people should really follow. And also what they do for coaches to help coaches level up their businesses from a point of service is fantastic. They don't have coaches going out, look at me, look at me, look at me. They make it about the person that they're going to coach. And they both co-founded Real Coaching Success, and you can find them at realcoachingsuccess.com. Don't go there yet, but they built that to provide a platform to encourage and equip others to share their passion for coaching others. Throughout their careers, both of them have used a coaching and developing style leadership, but they came in very different ways, which I think is fantastic. They came together, identified common principles and practices, and used those insights to gain the courage to launch into a new career of full-time leadership coaching in 2009. And one thing about coaching is that it's not consulting, and they go or counseling, they go very in depth in that as well. And I'm going to read a little excerpt really fast. It really stands out to me that coaching is the intentional effort to come alongside another person to help them experience their full potential. It's a forward-thinking activity that uses a combination of questions, encouragement, growth exercises, truth-telling, and accountability for their self-leadership. And that comes on page 22. So they come right out of the gate blazing. And squad, I have 9 pages of notes that Dr. Nathan and Dianne have put together. And I love that they write from their own personalities in the book as well, which just makes it just a masterpiece. So if you're a coach out there, I'm going to put you in touch. Reach out to me. I'm going to put you in touch with Real Coaching Success. So without further ado, I'm going to have Dr. Nathan and Dianne come on. Thank you so much. Introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. But first, what's your guys' favorite colors and why?
Mine's purple.
Purple.
Yeah,
okay, why is
grew
that?
up loving purple. Royalty.
Regal, baby.
Regal.
Yeah, and it's in your color wheel.
Yeah.
I love it. Doc, how about you?
Yeah, mine is black, and I'll tell you why. Because when I'm with all my grandkids and they always ask about favorite colors, nobody picks black. So I always pick that one, and they think it's hilarious.
I love it. I love it. And I've had 2 out of over 400 pick black. You're the second one. So
Okay.
there you go. You're an anomaly as well. So let's get a little bit to the origins. Before I don't want to give too much away about the book because I'm going to do a 5-book giveaway to listeners. I mean, 5 lucky listeners are going to get free books on my dime. But let's get to the origins because again, the coffee shop discussion at the very beginning of the book and how you got started a little bit, Doc. If you can get to the origins of where you guys were and then married those two together to build RCS where it's going.
Yeah, it started for me. Most of my career for 28 years was being a pastor of a church. And so I used a coaching style. I didn't know what to call it back then, but it was very conversational, very intentional with all of my staff and my key volunteers. Dianne built a very successful Mary Kay business. And so she had to consult all the women in her organization so that they could build their own businesses. So we had, we did that, and we didn't even know to call it coaching until many years later. But that's kind of how we got started.
Dianne, did you actually have a pink car?
Yes, I did.
Ah, what kind?
Cadillac.
You had the caddy. Also,
You had the caddy. Yeah, 13 career cars.
Ask her how many cars she won for free.
Ooh, how many?
13.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
That's
drove
amazing.
free for 26 years.
And you can't do that without really. I mean, you can't do that without really caring, about the person and the people that you're building your network with.
Absolutely.
And you don't get to 13 cars without doing that. And that's something that I kind of, tell people that I'm even coaching, because I just believe that, everybody knows what they want. They just don't know how to talk themselves into doing it. And I believe that's where coaching comes in. So I've got to ask you, when you guys are starting to work, we're going to go outside of coaching coaches, but when you're working with individuals that you're coaching, what is maybe some of your guys' secret sauce that you use to maybe help them identify that blind spot for that origin starting point?
Well, for me, it's asking lots of questions that they don't think to ask themselves. Coaching really is a reaction to what you discover. And where I have to encourage a lot of coaches is you got to get a lot better on the discovery so that it becomes clear on how to coach them. And you can only discover by getting into their story, their personality, their challenges, their fears, their aspirations. And that takes a while. So we call it professional curiosity. But that sounds simple, but you'll be amazed at how many coaches try to jump to the coaching and they don't have crystal clear direction on where to really help the person go.
I love that. How about you, Dianne?
Yeah, mine, that initial time with them, the first question I ask them is, tell me a little bit about yourself. And I know that if she leads with her career achievements, I know that's what's important to her. If she leads telling me about her family and each little child and everything about her kids, then I know that's what's most important in her life. So I really pay attention to that. What is her first thing she leads with?
I love it. I'm just hearing like to be getting with questions and really leaning in and listening and really finding what they have. And I love that you said, Doc, professional curiosity, because literally I have a whole plaque up here that says be curious. And then literally a little tape on my monitor says be curious, because, curiosity to me is the biggest superpower anybody can ever have. Yep. Nothing was invented without curiosity that we're using on our computers or our smartphones and whatnot. They're very curious about. So thank you for saying that. So if you're working with a client, or let's say we're in the discovery period, is there any good question that maybe you wish they would ask you but never do?
What do you wish you would have done differently?
Love it.
I don't get a lot of questions. I've never had someone ask me that, Scott, so I really appreciate it. And I think it's because I'm so intentional. They really feel like they're the focus. They don't ask me. So after they get to know me a little bit, they'll ask me a little bit about how I got into this.
Yeah.
Do you realize you're basically reading my mind? Do people tell you that? How do you do that?
Right.
That's about it, really.
And leading back kind of to what Dianne said is like, I want to share my mistakes. I want to be super transparent with my clients, because it brings it down to a human level. That's the one question is either, where are you taking me, or what have you did, or what would you have done differently? I love that. I love it. So with regards to having, how do I say this? Let's go into a company. You guys are going to coach it. You have, the CEO generally is the one that reaches out, or to me anyways, and says, hey, I'd like you to come in and talk to somebody. The CEO wants you to come in and help with transformation and help level them up. But there's always that one person within the organization that's like, why are you bringing someone else in? That's maybe on the little bit lower. How would you go about coaching them from the start and getting them on board for your protocol?
So their concern is we're bringing somebody from outside of our culture and we're giving them open access.
Yes, sir.
Why are we doing that? Well, the first thing I tell them is, who in your organization is telling your boss how to lead? Nobody.
Right.
Who in your organization is giving your boss feedback on how he is coming across to his direct reports? Who do you have in your organization that doesn't work for you and is not afraid to be fired? So I can just tell them what I see.
Love it.
And that's the value of an outsider coming in, is they're going to see things that nobody in the organization sees. I mean, that's typically my response.
I love it, Dianne.
I'm drawing a blank on that because everything he said is kind of.
No, that's for you guys are so married together.
Yeah, I mean,
it's beautiful. By the way, how many years?
35 and a half.
35. Does it feel like 35 minutes underwater? I'm kidding. 100%. I heard that at an anniversary party one
hilarious.
time. That's funny. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about strengths. We'll start with Dianne. Dianne, what do you feel really your strengths are when it comes to coaching and leading?
Yeah, really connecting quickly on a personal level, gaining trust quickly, just out of my sincerity that I think comes across, and being open and transparent, like we kind of alluded to before, very willing to share what I've learned in the process, mistakes I've made, just really a big encourager to them, believing in them.
Love it. Yeah. Doc?
Two things. One, I don't miss much. From shoe color, grammar, what you say when you first sit down, how many times you use a particular word. I've noticed that's a gift that I have, that I just don't miss a whole lot, and I use that to my advantage. For instance, a client will come in and I'll say, hey, 2 times ago when we met, you said this. I've been thinking about that. Tell me more what you meant by that.
Unpack that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
beautiful.
so that's been very helpful, as I'm extremely observant. And the second thing that I realized is a natural talent, and I've had to help other coaches develop, is timing. So the key on when to share your story, or when to tell that truth, or to ask that hard question, just because you have it correct doesn't necessarily mean this is the time to say it. Got to pay attention to the receptivity level of the client. And if you can get your timing right, they receive it much, much better, much quicker, and it goes much deeper.
Love that. And with regards to the questions that might start with the why, how do you coach that out of a coach?
To teach them how to do it?
Yes, sir.
When we actually have taken people through our certification, I will ask them to take notes on the questions. I want to see every question that you ask them.
Love it.
And I'll just look through how many what, how many whys, and depending on, so they'll walk me back through the conversation, and I'll say, that would have been a perfect time to go to motive, which is the why question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or an action. Hey, you should have asked an action. When are you going to do that? That's a when question.
Right. Because I'm guilty of it, especially in my earlier days. I'd ask it but try to be gentle about it, but still that WHY kind of sets off judgmentalism if it's not used correctly. I know you guys kind of mentioned that also in the book a little bit as well, and really unpacking and digging deep. So how about weaknesses, Dianne? What weaknesses do you feel that you need to work on?
Inspecting what I expect.
Ooh, love it. That's
really
transparent. Yeah. Yeah.
Am I really following back up on certain things that I'm expecting from them? So I have to work always at being intentional of inspecting what I expect from them.
Wow, we were like brothers and sisters from different misters on that one, because that's the same with me. How about you, Doc? Any weaknesses you like to work on?
Complete
You're
opposite.
perfect.
I have the complete opposite problem, where I'm much more interested in Scott moving forward. And if I'm not on my game that day, I may get ahead of myself and I'll get pushy, because it doesn't bother me when people push back.
Oh, yeah.
And I can get ahead, and I can get more tactic oriented and solution oriented and progress oriented. And I have to slow down, especially if I'm working with someone who's highly relational.
Right.
They would prefer to work with Dianne, not me, because she's so relational. And so I have to work on the opposite of what Dianne. I have no problem holding people accountable. I do have a problem sometimes caring.
Gotcha.
I mean,
that made it clunky in our marriage in the beginning too. Just those different styles described.
Right. So how do you guys ever start working with somebody and say, well, maybe it'd be better for Doc, or maybe better for Dianne? Has that happened?
No, because we don't split the money. So I want to keep all the revenue for myself.
I love it. That's awesome. It's
being honest.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Matter of fact, I had a client yesterday, and I've already made up my mind. I'm going to refer her to Julie, one of my affiliates.
Good.
I definitely refer out because I know what I'm good at.
Yes, sir.
And if they're wanting more from me than what I can give them, I think they deserve that, but not from me.
I believe, and I believe you're probably good enough to know it within the first couple conversations too, which really keeps the ball rolling for them. I use, it's cliche, I use the FORD acronym, Family, Occupation, Recreation, and Dreams. That's where I really start the hour of power with them, FORD, and I'll know off of that if they're the right person, if I need to maybe place them with another coach, because I'm not pushy, but I'm very motivated. It's a military, 6 tours downrange in Iraq and Afghanistan, whatever, you know, to really like focus in. But some people need a little bit more, and I've tried to be that person, and I wasn't the right person for them in that moment, and I really wasn't serving them well. So I love that you are transparent enough to say, Doc, that you will give them to somebody that will help them better. That's fantastic. So have you guys seen the movie? It's a little bit older, but have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Let's go back to the 22. We'll start with Dianne. Let's go back to the 22-year-old Dianne. Is there any knowledge nuggets? That's what we call them here at Time to Shine today. Is there any knowledge nuggets you might drop on her that not so much change your journey, because your journey has been pretty fruitful in connecting and also, but maybe help shorten that learning curve a little bit to maybe help her level up, maybe just a little bit quicker?
Do not be so concerned about what other people think. I'm a people pleaser by nature, and I can remember when I thought about leaving corporate America. Well, I did leave corporate America really to be a stay-at-home mom. That's where it began. But then when I decided, while being a stay-at-home mom, I wanted to start this business, I thought about, but my parents paid for my college degree. I have a college degree. I'm going to try something, and I'm not using my college degree. You know, I just worried too much about what people thought, I think.
Okay. Beautiful. I was caught in that too. And then with my mentor and coach said, you know, he gave me 2 New Year's resolutions to make every single day of the year. One, make someone smile every day. And I do that. Because I'm just a goofy 260-pound big guy, right? But also, unless I've hurt you, disrespected you, or owe you, I really don't care what you think about me anymore. I used to really care about that. But how about flip to you, Doc? How about you?
For sure. Don't say everything you're thinking.
Would he have listened at 22?
No, I would have told you what I was thinking about what you just said.
That's awesome. Were you guys from Ohio originally, or were you always from Tulsa?
Oklahoma.
Tulsa.
Oklahoma? Okay. For some reason, I thought that. I was wrong on that. So we'll start with Doc in this one, but how do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and your death date. Hopefully it's way down the road, but how do you want your dash remembered?
Intentional, great steward. That would mean so much to me that someone would say, that guy leveraged everything he had for the benefit of other people. So whether it's money, time, talent, network, ideas, but intentional stewardship of the little space and time I've been given, that would mean a lot to me.
It's leading like Jesus right there, man. That's pretty awesome. How about you, Dianne?
That she loved and served everybody well in her life.
That's awesome. It's straight to the point, and that's fantastic. So, Dianne, what do you think people might misunderstand the most about you?
I can be competitive.
Ooh, really? Actually,
yes, sir.
I get that, because when Doc said we don't split the money, I looked at Dianne and her face was like, it was awesome. I can see that competitive, coming out of it. That's beautiful. How about you, Doc?
Well, we'll be out on the golf course later, and she will take a picture of every ball when she outdrives me and text it to her best friend.
Or the family.
It's awesome.
That's how competitive she is.
How about you? You have that competition bug?
Yeah, but I'm a lot more stealthy. I won't admit it. But I cannot stand second place. I just rather go home.
Like first loser, right? Yeah, I get. I compete. I'm 50 years old. I've been competing in grappling jiu-jitsu since my 20s, and that's what I want to win so bad. That's the thing. But sometimes that might spill over into my coaching because I want them to win so bad, and that's where
Yes.
my weakness is I want for them more than they want for themselves a lot of
Yes.
times, and that's where I've really kind of honed my skills and continue to work to hone my skills. So, how about you, Doc? Does anything keep you up at night?
Not really. When I started the lead self, lead others, for sure. I would wake up thinking, is this idea crazy? Is Arvest Bank going to repossess my house? How come that guy hasn't called me back? Who am I fooling? Imposter syndrome, big time.
Big time.
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. I remember having to work on a new anxiety level I'd never had before.
And that can definitely keep you up, without a doubt. Keep you going. You want to lay it all on God, right? But He made us human to experience that, and it can get to you. How about you, Dianne? Are you like my lady Susan that can just fall asleep in 8 seconds?
I mean, I think it's just the one thing Nathan said. For me, it's if I haven't heard back from somebody or they didn't return the phone call, then I'm all right. Should I call again? How many messages do you leave? Why haven't I heard back? What does that mean? What are they thinking? That's probably the one thing that might mess with my head.
How about just maybe one question on leaving some wisdom with the new coaches within that first conversation. How do you want that first conversation to go with a coach with their first client? Like, where do you guys at RCS, Real Coaching Success, really push when they're starting that discovery conversation? What is the one thing that you want them to get out of that?
Well, there's the tactical side. You got to get enough information that you can go home and convert that into a proposal that makes it easy for the client to say yes. So that's the practical thing. But what I want on the developmental side is I want to say, hey, what'd you do well? What did you, in the moment your instincts kicked in? Because I want to bring attention to the fact that they've got good instincts. They need to get their reps in, just like everybody else.
Everything,
Don't let your missteps and your fear and your uncertainty obscure the fact that you got good instincts as a coach.
Right.
So I always like to ask them, hey, in that session, what are you most proud of that you did that you just did it instinctively? And I always try and highlight that to them.
That's beautiful. That's awesome. I just like to leave that conversation, and if I didn't sign them with that, for lack of a better term, in a place of possibility instead of affordability, and then that really has helped me out, leaving them in that state. So, Dianne, what is your definition of a life well lived?
That anybody, that I think goes back to that. I've loved everybody well, served people well. A wife, everybody knows I love the Lord, and
absolutely,
I make impact where I can, that I'm intentional.
That's beautiful. Yeah. How about you, Doc?
I didn't hear the question.
What would you think your definition of a life well lived is?
That everything I did ended up with me achieving the status that I finished well.
Like Paul said, right? Ran that best race, man. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I work with a lot of guys that have stumbled, made mistakes, been fired, whether personal life mistakes, professional life mistakes, and I want to let them share that with me, and then at the right time say, hey, look, let me tell you something. It's about finishing, and based on my ability to look right now, you're not dead.
You don't even have to be a medical doctor for that.
Yeah. Right? So I think we have some hope here, and it'll take time.
Love it.
But that's what I want to focus on, is getting back to a lifestyle and leadership so that when it's time for you to hang it up, you can say, man, I finished well.
Love it. That's awesome. And Squad, we're going to take my good friend Dr. Nathan and his lovely wife Dianne through our leveling up lightning round just as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsors and affiliates. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back, and next time I'm in Tulsa, I'm going to definitely look you up, and I'm sure we'll go over a few of these questions, maybe 15, 20 minutes on each one. But you guys have 5 seconds with no explanations whatsoever, and they can all be answered that way. You guys ready to level up?
Okay.
All right. We'll start with Dianne. Dianne, what is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
All you can do is ask. All they can say is yes.
Yes. I love it. How about you, Doc?
Make it easy for people to say yes to you.
Beautiful. Love that. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success, Doc.
Defined work hours.
Beautiful. Dianne?
So as an entrepreneur, we do whatever we want to do, but
right.
Work hours.
Dianne?
Exercise. Man, I take care of the body. Exercise.
Love it. Love it. So if you see me walking down the street, man, like Fergie looks like he's in his doldrums a little bit. Other than the good book, what book might you hand me to level me up?
Your One and Only Life.
Oh, great book. Doc, yours too?
I love that book, but one I've been giving out quite a bit is 4,000 Weeks.
Oh, Jason Holzer just mentioned that to me. Great. Look, that's on my list. Excellent.
It's a philosophical book on time.
Yeah.
It's not time management. It's the philosophy of time. And I think it's healthy for people that want to live intentionally to understand their own view of time.
Beautiful. Your most commonly used emoji, Dianne, when you text?
The face with the 3 purple hearts.
Beautiful. Doc?
You're not going to believe this, but I've never used one.
Okay, very cool. That's good enough. How about nicknames growing up, Doc?
Nate the Snake.
Nate the Snake. Love it. How about you, Dianne?
Duck.
Duck.
My last name was Duckworth, and everybody called me Duck.
Gotcha. All right, Dianne, chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Monopoly.
How about you, Doc?
None. Don't like board games.
Love it. Go-to ice cream flavor, Doc.
Well, vanilla. I really don't eat ice cream.
Me too.
It hurts my teeth.
How about you, Dianne?
Chocolate chip mint.
Ooh, mint chocolate chip. All right.
Mint chocolate chip.
So there's a sandwich called Nate the Snake. What's on that sandwich, Doc? Build it for me.
Yeah, every meat you got in the fridge, and then the garden on top. If you got it cut up, put it on there.
Oh, how about the duck? What's on that sandwich?
Probably turkey and Swiss panini style.
Oh, yeah. Eat that thing up. Beautiful. All right. Favorite charity and organization you'd like to give your time or money to?
Well, local church for sure, but we also support a ministry that is for women professional golfers.
Very cool. Both of you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Last question. You can elaborate on this one a little bit, but what do you feel is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
80s.
Me too. I'm right there with the 80s. How about you, Doc? You listen to music?
All kinds.
I'm all over the map. I can Led Zeppelin and then Beethoven.
I love it. I love it.
Is.
Oh, beautiful. So how can we find you?
Well, leadselfleadothers.com is my one that's been around for 15 years now. It's where we do all of our coaching and any consulting. And then realcoachingsuccess.com is our new baby. It's about 2 years old. And a ton of free stuff on there for anybody interested in coaching.
Okay. Let's go a little bit deeper into real coaching success. Like the coaches that are out there listening, because I probably have, over 1,000 of them in my email directory, and I want to make sure this gets in front of them. Give us a little gist on what they can expect when they dig into RCS.
Well, you're going to see me interview. I've got about 10 interviews with coaches from around the country with a variety of personalities, and I did that for a reason, to encourage someone who's maybe needs to see somebody different than me. We've done webinars with some very gifted coaches, asking them to give us their secret sauce or some of their best tools for how they stay motivated. We've just launched the certification course, and you can read about that, where we'll actually train you how to go from how to spell the word coach all the way up to 90 days past your business launch party, and how to market it and build your database. So we go all the way from zero to skills up to launching your business. And basically what we did is we just went back and documented what we did.
Right.
The funnest thing we got coming up is Dianne and I are going to start a podcast probably in 2 months.
Okay.
Where we're going to debrief the week of coaching together.
Ooh. Okay.
We're just going to go back and forth. Hey, what was your high? What was your low? What'd you learn? What are you excited about? And the idea is to just bring fellow coaches into my little office here, where we're just hanging out and we're just talking about our journey of coaching, just as a way to encourage people.
That's amazing. I love that you guys are keeping the coaching community, close and bringing more people in to do it to what I feel is the right way to be able to grow a business.
Yeah, and we're going to have a segment in there called Real Coaching Sips and Tips, where we're going to crack a new bottle of wine that our sommelier has gotten us all these weird wines. We're going to toss that right in the middle of the podcast and just have something quirky in there about, hey, what do you taste? What do you think?
That's cool. That'll be a lot of fun. When do you think that you're going to drop that? Launch it?
January.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. Make sure I'm on that list. I
Yeah,
definitely get on there. Listen to it. So I'm going to ask you to just do me one last solid and each one of you share like a knowledge nugget that the listeners can take with them, internalize, and take action on.
You want to go, babe? You go.
No, I need a minute. Wait, ask the question again.
Just one last knowledge nugget, just a little maybe encouragement or something that people can take with them, internalize, and take action.
I got something, hon. I'll go.
Okay.
I can't encourage coaches strong enough to pay attention to what you can't stop thinking about. Just because you don't have a website, you can't even spell the word coach, you can't answer questions like, who's going to hire me? What should I charge? That's just all noise. Pay attention to what you can't stop thinking about. So whether it's coaching or launching a new business or whatever, but I believe that is in you for a reason. And just because you have 99 questions you can't answer, you shouldn't ignore the one thing that you have to be honest about is, man, I can't stop thinking about it.
Wow, that's amazing. How about you, Miss Dianne?
So I'm thinking, don't compare yourself. Women especially do that. We compare ourselves to the other coach. Pay attention to who you are, how God made you, how he designed you. Take him as your business partner. He knows you. He knows your heart. He knows your strengths. He knows your weaknesses. He does have plans for success for you, and you need to just lean into who you are and not compare yourself.
That is strong. That is strong. Thank you for saying that. And both of you guys for being so transparent. Squad, I just had a fun conversation with Dr. Nathan and Dianne. And I have knowledge nuggets upon knowledge nuggets from just their book alone, which will be in the show notes. I'm going to do 5 separate book giveaways for anyone that puts just RCS for Real Coaching Success within any of our social media, or if you email me back with that or text us at 561-440-3830. I'm going to buy 5 books, and Dr. Nathan and Dianne hopefully will sign them, and I'll take care of the postage as well to get them out. So just leave that within the any of the social, or again, an email or a text, whatever it is, we'll get that book out to you. But they both spoke about listening and really listening closely and while asking powerful questions, really listening with their neck, leaning in for the answers, and to be able to build that game plan that is going to help you get into the stratosphere of success for whatever you're going for. During the discovery period, make sure that you're clear on their intentions and also your intentions. Be very transparent. Dianne mentioned, ask your coach what you may have did differently. And that coach should be very transparent in what that answer is going to be. If they feel like they're hiding it, that might not be the right coach for you, because they're expecting you to be that. Also Dianne said, don't be so concerned about what other people think. You know, be yourself, be authentic, be a nice person, but don't really care, because that what they think really doesn't matter to what's going to happen with you. You know, and Doc says, you know, he wants to be a good, intentional person, a great steward, that he leveraged everything he has for the benefit of others. And I also believe that Jesus did that as well. You know, they both will be remembered as someone that loved and served. They are going to slide across home plate when it's all said and done and God calls them home, but knowing that they left the world in a better place, because right now they're planting trees that they probably will never sit in the shade of for what they're doing for coaches. You know, if you're stuck on something, don't be afraid to ask. They want you to get your, like my good friend Leah Woodford would say, get your asking gear. Ask the right people. There are coaches. There are people out there that will help you do that. Doc reminded us, pay attention to what you can't stop thinking about. Like, I have monkey mind, but there's usually that one thing that sits at the top of the brain, and really pay attention, that dig in. And if you have a coach, call them, talk to them about it. If you have a counselor, a pastor, whoever you have, talk to them to really dig deep and unpack that. And again, Dianne said, be authentic. Take God as your business partner. Lean into him, lean on him, because whether you're God or your creator, whatnot, they want success for you in all areas of your life. And both of these, my good friends here, level up their health, they level up their wealth. They both earn their varsity letters here at Time to Shine today. Thank you so much for coming on, guys. And I just can't wait to collaborate with you in the future.
Thank you, Scott.
You bet. Chat soon.
Okay, see you.